Hi tourists! I'm Crisella. I'm your tour guide for today, and it's my pleasure to be service to you. Are you all excited? Great! Me too! But before we proceed, let us do first the head count to know if we are complete. 1, 2, 3, 30, perfect! And by the way, I would like you to meet our coach, Captain Carlo. Say hello to Carlo. And when regards to our rules and regulations, first, smoking is strictly prohibited inside the bus, but eating foods are allowed. Second, you may always follow the itinerary given to you and always stay with the group. And if you have any questions want to clarify, please don't hesitate to call my attention. Is that clear, my dear tourists? Alright, while we're waiting to our first destination, let me tell you some details about Uruguay. Uruguay has a population of 3.25 million inhabitants or 2011 census, of whom 1.3 million live in the capital and largest Montevideo. So the capital of Uruguay is Montevideo. The majority of country's populations resides in the southern half of the country. The official language is Spanish. Time zone in Uruguay is GMT-3 or Wednesday, November 9, 2022, 3:50 a.m. The Uruguay peso is the Spanish peso uruguayo, has been the name of the Uruguayan currency since Uruguay's settlement by Europeans. Líneas Aéreas Uruguayas S.A. was the flag carrier of Uruguay. It was headquartered in Carrasco, Montevideo, and operated scheduled services within South America, as well as scheduled cargo and charter service from its hub at Carrasco International Airport. Christianity is the largest religion in Uruguay, with Catholics having the most adherents, but around 44.5% of the population is non-religious as of 2021. Church and state are officially separated since 1916. So before we go in Uruguay, vaccinated travelers with proof of vaccination do not require COVID testing prior to entering Uruguay. Unvaccinated travelers require a negative PCR or antigen test within 72 hours before initiating travel. So my dear tourists, I hope you learned about Uruguay, okay? Now let us proceed in tourist destination. We have 3 tourist destinations, which is the first one is Tacuarembó. Tacuarembó is situated in the north of the country. Tacuarembó is the most beautiful landscape of the flat hills in meadows. The natural wonders from the backdrop to films. It is quiet and interesting place with distinct culture, language, and food. Next, we have the Fray Bentos. Is a city in western Uruguay which became known when the largest scale meatpacking plant was established here in 1861. The colonial charm of the town is the perfect counterpoint to the stark remains of the factory, and if you're not history lover, there are beaches, ranches, and amazing relaxing wine areas to explore here. This famous ancient resort lies on the coast of the Atlantic Ocean. It is known for the beautiful stunning beaches. Here you can view an array of birds in protected zones as well as giants of the ocean. Lastly, we have the Santa Teresa National Park. It is a must-visit place for nature lovers. Enraptured with beautiful beaches and astonishing forested areas, this place is a famous tourist attraction. Why? Because you get a chance to camp, hiking, surfing, and sightseeing beautiful attractions here. Isn't it amazing? Now, I'll tell you some facts about Uruguay. Uruguay means river of painted birds. The name Uruguay comes from the Guarani word of the Uruguay River, which means either river where the bird lives, river of the painted birds, or river of the snails, or winding river. Next is Uruguay is the biggest consumer of beef in the world. Even though Uruguay has a much smaller population than their beef-loving Argentinian neighbors, they consume the most beef per person in the world. Is it that amazing? So, while technically more beef might be eaten in Argentina, Each person in Uruguay generally eats more beef than each person in Argentina. And lastly, Uruguay hosted the first World Cup ever, like many South American countries, like soccer or football. Is the most popular sport in Uruguay. The first international soccer match was hosted in Uruguay in 1902, as was the first World Cup tournament in 1930. This is actually came about after soccer was dropped from the Olympics program. After Uruguay had won back-to-back gold medals in Paris in 1924 and Amsterdam in 1928. Now let us proceed and festivals. The first one we have is Parade Particles. First Thursday and Friday of February is celebrated in Palermo and the south neighborhood of Montevideo. More than 30 comparsas from different neighborhoods of Montevideo during 2 days parade and expose themselves to a jury that evaluates and rewards each one, analyzing to all its components, standard port, flags, dancers, the broomman, the gramalario, the old mother, the dancing team, the vade, and the rope of drums. Next, we have here is the National Folklore Festival. First weekend of February in Durazno, it is the most important folklore contest in the country. Uruguayan identity is promoted through music, promoting new national singers and composers. Also, in the next stage occurs the meeting of the Gua Show, where there are horsemen, tasks offering, and parades of cavalry. And lastly, now let us proceed in the cuisine of Uruguay. I know you are all hungry, so let's proceed in cuisine. Uruguay is a country where there are more cows than people. It is true, literally. There are nearly 4 cows per person in this small country, so it is no surprise that the absolute top dish in Uruguay is meat. The asado which is slow cooked on eucalyptus wood embers to produce tasty and tender cuts that melt in your mouth. You will find a good asado nearby in any city. And next we have churipan. Did you know churipan? Churipan is a chorizo hot dog. The word churipan is a contraction of chorizo and a pan. It is literally means chorizo on bread or chorizo hot dog. Contrary to Mexican or Spanish chorizo, the Uruguayan kind is made of 2/3 beef and only 1/3 pork, so it's really tastes different. It is sad to say that this marks the end of our very informative tour. Are there any questions, clarifications, or any suggestions? Just let me know, okay? I hope everyone enjoyed and learned a lot from our trip. On behalf of any tours and travels, I would like to thank all of you for choosing us to be part of a very unforgettable journey. I hope to see you again in your future tours. Enjoy the rest of your days here in Uruguay and have the safe trip back home. Take nothing but pictures, leave nothing but footprints, and kill nothing but time. Again, this is Grisela signing off. Thank you and goodbye.